From the center of the universe, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, this is the SDM Show with your host, Rob Cairns. The SDM Show focuses on business, life, productivity, digital marketing, WordPress, and more. Sit back, relax, grab your favorite drink, and enjoy the show. Here is Rob.
Hey, everybody, I'm Rob Cairns. I'm the founder, CEO, and chief creator of Amazing Ideas at Stunning Digital Marketing. In this podcast, we have Copywriting with Todd Jones, and Todd joins me to talk about 3 types of blog posts that you should write. Sit back, relax, enjoy the show. Hey, everybody. Stunning Digital Marketing is your digital concierge. We help you put the pieces together to make your marketing success. Specialties we have including WordPress design and development, WordPress security, which is one of our most popular offerings, ads, and more. So if you want to succeed in the digital world, go on over to stunningdigitalmarketing.com and have a look at what we offer, and we'd be glad to help you. And let's jump on a call and make it happening. That's stunningdigitalmarketing.com. Hey, everybody, Rob Cairns here, and today we're doing our Copywriting with Todd Jones segment. Hey, Todd, how are you?
Howdy doody.
Yep.
I'm
Today
styling and profiling. Woo!
Yeah, I hear you. You know, life is good as long as you're
Sorry,
not a life is good as long as you're not a Dallas Cowboys fan in this world. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna no comment on that.
I'm a Cowboys fan, and life's not good. But
I'm
that's
not really a Cowboys fan, but you know the guy that owns it is from my home state,
Arkansas,
and it's just disturbing to watch him continue to, feel like he can be a general manager. And anyway,
it reminds
somebody
me of
mentioned, I think Troy Aikman the other day, like for a coach. I said Troy Aikman would be an excellent general manager.
Yep.
He would be an excellent general manager.
And somebody batted around Deion Sanders, and somebody on social media said, "Why would he go near that shithole?" So
Yeah, let's just see how I felt this way last year with Dion. So let's just see how he does. And he struggled last year. Not really surprised. They came out of the gate, won a couple games, and everybody suddenly gave him flowers and like, it's a little early. But he, I was talking to a friend of mine about this yesterday, and it's like, the NIL transfer portal era is made for Deion Sanders.
Yeah,
it really is made for Deion Sanders. So I'm interested to see what he does at Colorado. They could end up in the playoffs this year, which would be a heck of a turnaround to go from, winning 3 or 4 ball games to the playoffs. But it's not out of their own possibility because all they got to do is win the Big 12 and they're in.
Yeah,
and that's not impossible.
One of the biggest changes before we get to what we're supposed to be talking about, but this is par for the course, folks, that happened in the NCAA is the NCAA has agreed to take hockey players that come out of the major junior leagues in Canada. And that happened last week. Yeah. And the reason they never did was those players' education is usually paid for. So under definition, they're quote pro athletes. But what does Neil make all these athletes? Pro athletes? I mean,
exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it's
Arkansas's got a player that now he's kind of a backup receiver, special teams player, but he's like 28 years old. He played in the major leagues baseball. He didn't finish college degree. In fact, I think he may have gone straight from college. I think he played like 1 year of college baseball and went to the pros, and he played for several years. And he wanted to play football after he's done basketball. He was a dual threat player, a dual sport athlete in school, really good at football, highly recruited actually, but baseball was a little bit better for him. He went the baseball route. Now he's come to Arkansas. He's like 28 years old. They said he was great for the locker room because he's a lot older than the other kids, right? A little bit of leadership factor. He's not like in the rotation for the receiver job, but he's in the mix, and he plays special teams. Had a big tackle a couple weeks ago. So, I expect he'll stay around and be helpful. So we've taken former Major League Baseball players quite often. That's interesting to add hockey players. Hockey players, especially if they're a little bit bigger, could make great tight ends and fullbacks, maybe defensive linemen. So that'd be
it's
interesting.
Not so much for football, but even transferring from a what do you call it? A junior hockey league to an NCAA hockey team. That wasn't even
Oh,
allowed before. So
oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
interesting enough. Anyway,
Yeah. That is interesting.
let's talk about 3 blog posts that every business owner should write. Interesting topic. So where do you
Yeah,
want to go?
I thought about this the other day. And so, okay, this is, we're recording this in November. So most people are going to listen to it probably in December.
Yep.
So, now you may not have time to write. And there's one or two of these blog post ideas could work in this time of year. But the thing about these blog posts is they shouldn't take super long to do. You can use tools such as generative AI, whatever your favorite AI
Mhm.
program is, to help you, maybe even write it. Um, and they are posts that they're not going to be these SEO posts. You're not looking to get on the first page of SEO. What you're looking to do is engage with your own users. So if you have an audience that comes to your site, customers, whatever, these would be in that ballpark. And again, like I said, they're not going to be 1,500 word blog posts. You don't have to worry about going out and finding a reputable article a writer. You can. I mean, I'm not saying don't hire somebody, but this is not one of those high-end article writing types jobs that you could do fairly easy and use something like Gemini or Chat GPT or something like that to at least assist you. And the reason I thought about this is because I have a client that I've done a couple of these posts for. And then, it did not take me very long to do. And it was a value add for the customer. And I thought, well, really, anybody who's a regular small business owner can do these articles. Now, you're not really teaching a whole lot, so it's not really educational content. So with that said, let me get into them. The first one is a newsy post. And
Yep.
you do a lot of these yourself. Like, this is what's happening. I've added the newsletter is now on Substack, whatever, these kinds of things.
I do this.
Now,
Yep.
what I tell people is not to do too many of them too often. You don't want to look at your blog scroll and see like the last 5 articles are newsy articles. But people
I'm not sure a
understand.
news site. I'm not sure a news site. That's different.
Well, unless you're a news site, yeah. But I'm just talking about your average, small business. So, people understand that a part of what a business is letting the people who follow them know what's going on. So, we have a new product line. We have a new team member. Anything that would be a news release type of article. Anytime you do a news release, always put that on your website and your blog because you want to have a spot where it lives. So these are newsy articles. Now, these can be done very simply. What you can do is you can take all the details, if you want to just bullet list it, whatever, and go to Chat GPT and say, okay, I need to write a casual news article. Or you can say, I need to write a news release, like a press release, so it'll format it for you. But you just want to tell it what you want it to do and how you want it to sound. If you want it to be casual, make sure you let it know it's casual, and go ahead and give it a number. Say, hey, it needs to be between 400 and 800 words. Here are all the information, all the different bits of information that need to go in it, and it'll write it out for you. Now, you might want to edit it before you put it in there. That's totally fine. You can drop it in a Google document and go through it and say, I don't like the way this works. I want to rephrase it, whatever. I misspoke on the date. It's this really,
Mhm.
blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
And then put it in your content management system. Presumably listening to this is WordPress. So always make sure you add a couple links externally and one internally. Nothing major, but it's just kind of a little SEO tactic that we do, but it's good for the reader to have reference points. So like if you're like announcing that I started a new partnership with somebody, blah blah blah, trade industry, make sure you link to that company, that organization.
Yep.
And then at the end you can always say, if you want to do an internal link, obviously if there's something that you can link back to your in your blog already or on your website, go ahead and do that. But at the end, if you don't have anything, you can always say, for more information, or if you want to know how you get involved, blah, 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 here's contact page link. So that's the first one. It's relatively simple to do. You can hire a college student to do that easy, especially somebody who's in a PR comms program. They make extra money. You get something done, or you can, use ChatGPT or Gemini, whatever you like to do that. It's not super complicated. And in this time of year with maybe holiday stuff going on, you might have some kind of holiday thing you want to announce. And we're not talking about something that has to go to the press, but just kind of newsy. This is what we're doing. So that's the first one.
Before we go on the second one, also worth mentioning, you mentioned PR comms. It's interesting that PR comms departments overlap marketing departments all the time.
They do.
So I've done short-term contracts where the email marketing was actually managed out of PR comms department, not out of marketing department. So this is worth mentioning that in this business, if you're job looking, it's worth realizing that a lot of department names are a misnomer for what is done in those departments.
Well, and when I say PR comms, what I was thinking about, and we got to keep in mind, we have 3 colleges in this town, but we have a PR comms department at University of Central Arkansas. I've worked with some of the students. So if you have a college nearby that has a PR comms, you might check with the professor to see if there's a professor or somebody there to see if there's a student who would like to do it for a little bit of money, pay them more than they would get working at Domino's. But you're still not paying for a seasoned writer. It's the best of both worlds in that regard. And you're asking them to do something very simple. Hey, I've got this event coming up. We have this event coming up, and we need to write a little article about it. And they let them be creative about it too, because it's their chance to shine and be a little creative. So they can be creative about it. This time of year, especially a lot of the nonprofits are doing holiday stuff coming up, like. We saw car ties, the festival of trees, and all that kind of stuff. So
tons.
That's an easy one to do. It really doesn't take you can hire somebody if you want. You don't have to. And something like ChatGPT or Gemini can really give you a lot of help with this right here. That's the first one.
Second one.
Ready for the second one? Okay. I call this a lifestyle post, and it's very similar to the Newsy article, but it's a little bit more lifestyle than news. And so, for instance, I told you that I had a client that I did a couple of these for. Well, this is what she did. We did a couple articles, and I basically quizzed her about the information. She gave it to me. I popped it in ChatGPT. It wrote out the article for me. Very, very simple to do. They went somewhere. So they went to a nightlife area in Nashville, her and her husband and a friend, and they visited Jason Aldean's restaurant, and they did all this stuff, and she just told about it, right? And I said, okay. It was, and she has a tendency to not to give you a whole lot of details. And I went back and said, okay, this is what I want. Who, what, when, where, and how. It was very simple, those questions. She filled them in the best she could. I dropped in ChatGPT. It wrote me an article. You're probably not going to have 1,000-word long article for something like this, but give it a minimum amount, 500 words, whatever. It'll come up with something. Then you can, again, edit as fit, you want to say. But it did a good job of taking, because, I put in there what she wrote, right? So it kind of adopted her tone as well. But it doesn't, whether you use Gemini or ChatGPT or just have a student or you write yourself, the whole idea is it's really a storytelling. It's what you're doing. Your story, you tell a story, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like super duper fancy storytelling, but you tell a story. And you'll see some teams do this, like, oh, we went to such and such conference, and while we were there, we were in Cleveland, Ohio. We visited Football Hall of Fame and got pictures. And here I got to take a picture with my, with the bust of my favorite football player or whatever. Right? If you're somewhere outside of Toronto and you go to Toronto, I got to go to what's the name of the big arena there?
Rogers Center.
Rogers Center. I got to the Rogers Center. This is where the Raptors play, and Raptors
play Scotiabank. Yeah.
Scotiabank.
Or I have to. Good example. I have to go to Rogers Center tonight to watch Taylor Swift. She's here for 3 shows.
You're going to the show?
No, I am not.
Oh, okay. Yes, that's a good example. I want to see Taylor Swift tonight, and this is what we experienced. It doesn't have to be super fancy. Just some general observations. I had fun. Just follow the who, what, when, where, and how to make sure you get the details correct as much as possible. I mean, nobody's looking for 100% accuracy, but and then something you enjoyed about it. I really enjoyed that. Taylor has a habit of bringing on a special guest. Almost everybody, everything. Well, that night Taylor brought in Billie Eilish,
Yeah.
and they sang this song together. Blah blah blah. Nothing. Again, you're telling a story, a little bit of a story. Don't need to go overkill on it, but this is a lifestyle story. And people will connect with you, right? So our friend Ryan, we know this about Ryan, and his customers know this about Ryan. He is a big proponent of dogs, particularly Brittany Spaniards, and being a
Yep.
part of rescues. And so Ryan will go to stuff sometimes, and he also races cars. Like he's working on his car, like road racing. We have this whole thing. We go back and forth. I tell him dirt track racing is better, and he says that's too much dirt. And anyway, we go back and forth,
I
have a
get
little
it.
friendly banter there. But and then he loves to hunt, so and take the dogs hunting and all that stuff. This stuff it helps us connect with the people. I always say this when I learn something about somebody, even if it's not something I'm interested in, it still helps me connect, right? Because I know, hey, they really like this. Like for instance, I'm more of a cat person than a dog person. I don't care. I love the fact that Ryan has this connection with his dogs, and that it's a big part of
Yeah.
who he is. And we want to know that. We, as in people who are following your people who are following you, want to know that you love the Toronto Raptors, or that you love the Arkansas Razorbacks, or that you love professional wrestling. And so all these things are, I call them lifestyle blog posts because it's about lifestyle. Now, some of my higher end content marketing friends will probably frown on this, but don't worry about them. It's okay because and this time of year is a great time of year to do a lifestyle because you may go to a Christmas party or some kind of Christmas performance.
Mhm.
Like say the Celtic women are in town, or what's the name of the rock Christmas band? I'm drawing a blank right now. The ones that do
It's
the
okay.
Siberian Orchestra.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you may go watch a performance like that, or you may go watch the Conway Men's Chorus do their Christmas presentation or whatever. Why not write an article about it? I don't mean write 10 articles in 1 month's time, but write one or two about something you experienced.
Mhm.
Thanksgiving, maybe you ran the turkey trot this year.
Yep.
I'm sure everybody listening is going to run the turkey trot. Somebody's going to. Hey, I ran the turkey trot this year. I had to train for 6 weeks to do it. So and so helped me do that. Then I ran with my best friend, and when we got done, we went home and ate turkey. Whatever, just a little lifestyle article.
Yep. And
That's number two.
what's number three?
You ready for number three? It's going to be very similar to both. I call it business spotlight. Um, this is where you're spotlighting another business person. Generally, when people do that, they're doing it with business partners, people that they actually
Yeah.
partner with. Um, so here you are recording these on Zoom. So let's say you highlight Zoom. It's a vendor you use, and so business sponsored. Use Zoom to blah blah blah. I'm just making that up, but I tend to want people to focus on smaller businesses in their local area, especially if you're a local small business. So let's take your jewelry store guy. Is there a small business in the area that he partners with for something?
Yeah, a couple.
Well, highlight one of them,
Yeah.
especially this time of year. We work closely with nothing major, almost a lifestyle type post, but you're highlighting them. If you can get the owner or somebody from the company to agree to it, do a Q&A.
Yeah.
Ask about 4 or 5 questions, nothing major. Let them answer it. They don't have to write it out. They can give you a video or an audio, and you can use AI to transcribe it if you want to do that. When you do a Q&A, you got two formats right there built in. One is can be straight Q&A question. here in bold, here's the answer. No problem. If you decide you don't want to do that, you can probably use something like ChatGPT or Gemini to take that and build a interview style article. Or you can again turn it over to a student or a less seasoned writer to write it up into a interview format. But these are three very non-complex type of articles that you can do. You can probably use something to assist you, or use someone to help you write the article, or somebody on your own team can do it for that matter. Shouldn't cost you a whole lot of money to do it. The output, and I think what you'll get back is great, because here's the deal. When you highlight somebody, like say you highlight a business, what are they going to do?
They're going to share
they're
going to
share the heck out of it. Look, I got my friend Rob Cairns talked about my business on the SDM blog.
By the way, podcasting's not any different. I should tell you that explicitly, because that's what I'm doing, right? I bring people on.
Yes, it is. Yes,
I guess.
Yeah, exactly. So that you know, the format can be any type of content, right? I use this specifically as blog content because people are like scrambling. Well, what do I write about? Well, here are three relatively easy things to do. You can literally rotate them every quarter because, you know, there's three, right? So,
of course,
you know, you want a different one, and then you can fill in with something else if you want to be a little more educative about something in your life. I always say talk about your process, talk about your products, you know, those kinds of things, and maybe a how-to. It's called a how-to, but I used to like Sumo used to do these articles. I don't think they're called Sumo anymore. They used to do these articles. They were guest articles because they got so much traffic. People were like thrilled to be on there. But they were guest blog posts, and it's basically how I did something. And sometimes they would use a Sumo tool. Sometimes they would not, but it would be a Sumo customer usually, and they would say how I use Airtable to create a client relations management system or something like that. And it would always be interesting to me because, you know, just telling how you did it is storytelling. And you know what I think about storytelling. So, so all three of these articles are a kind of like a storytelling tool, really. But you can do it on a podcast if that's your preferred medium, or videos, or even social media. Yeah. But I think for your blog content, well, if you do it as a podcast, you can repurpose it as a blog content. So
no question on that one. Todd, thanks for sharing three types of blog posts. If they want to learn more, Copyflight. That's the best place to go. Find Todd on X. Where else is he? LinkedIn. What about on Facebook?
I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. But I'm even on Blue Sky. But I wouldn't recommend finding me on Blue Sky. But I'm there. LinkedIn or Twitter, maybe Facebook. Those would be the best. Copyflight.com.
Yep. Have a great
SDM
day.
show every month.
Yes. Have a great day, Todd. Thanks so much.
All right, man. Have a good one.
Thank you very much for listening to the SDM Show. The SDM Show is brought to you by Stunning Digital Marketing, your digital concierge. For all your digital marketing needs, especially WordPress security, jump on over to stunningdigitalmarketing.com and let's help you put the pieces together and make your business succeed in the marketing realm. That's stunningdigitalmarketing.com. A very special thank you to Todd Jones for joining me on this edition of the SDM Show. This podcast is dedicated to my late father, Bruce Cairns. Dad, I love you. I miss you very much. And thanks for all the inspiration over the years and your caring, your understanding, and helping me grow as an individual. Thank you, Dad.